All right. We were talking about Arrhenius before. We were talking about the hydronium ion. The hydronium ion is the source of all acidic properties. Let's actually write that. Okay. There's a reason that a lot of the strong acids behave very similarly, which is because HCl, or really any strong acid, will do exactly that thing. For every mole of strong acid, you'll produce a mole of hydronium ions in solution, and it's those hydronium ions that actually make it an acid. Okay? With bases, we said bases produce hydroxide ions. I said that up here. Acids produce H+, but really that immediately becomes hydronium. Bases produce hydroxide. So when the substance we have is sodium hydroxide, that is pretty straightforward. Let's write it like this, though. Na plus AQ and OH minus AQ. That's dissociation again. Sodium hydroxide will behave essentially like any ionic compound. When an ionic compound dissolves, its plus and minus ions separate from each other. We talked about that in the solutions chapter. That's how ionic compounds are able to dissolve. So when something like sodium hydroxide, when any kind of hydroxide dissolves, we'll get free hydroxide ions floating around in the solution, and those hydroxide ions are a source of basic properties. Okay. So, hydronium for acids, hydroxide for bases. Acids and bases neutralize each other, because if we have hydronium ions and hydroxide ions, they will combine to form what? Two waters. So, there was an old demonstration that somebody used to do at some point. Nobody does this anymore, but a container of very concentrated acid, a container of very concentrated base, both of which would probably kill you if you dealt too closely with them or ingested them or something like that. But when mixed, they neutralize each other into essentially salt water, because you've got the spectator ions in there as well. So there was a famous demonstration where somebody did that, combined them together, and then drank it. But you have to be very sure of your concentrations. It would have to be solutions that you would probably make yourself, and even then I wouldn't recommend it. So no, there's no way anybody has done that for show in the last 50 years probably, but the idea is there at least. Okay, so Arrhenius is the simplest definition of acids and bases. It's just about hydronium and hydroxide. We'll come back to this when we're doing pH, because pH calculations use hydronium and hydroxide. As you know, we've done those already.